Zoe, you gotta get the juices flowing, bro.
Oh no, sorry, work shit.
You are
All right.
work.
Yeah,
You better be hammering out a major deal.
I'm working on it.
You just like pump yourself up or something. How do I have more energy than you right now?
I don't know, because you just came from work.
All right, tweet it out.
All right, let me do the retweet thing. And we're live, by the way, now. So,
Anything happened with the White Sox today that I didn't see?
nope. Just one
Cool.
day closer.
Just Han saying that they're players for the big guys.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't actually come out and say anything today, did he? I didn't see that.
Yeah, he did. He actually did.
It was in
It's all bluster.
what's his name? Fagan?
Oh, Fagan, that's right.
Yeah, Nuke?
No.
Go on, no.
Yeah, go on.
No, I meant it as in I saw that. I saw what he wrote and I forgot about it.
He obviously left the window open of, well, if we don't get these guys. What he didn't he obviously didn't say anyone specifically by name, but he's
So
like,
we're in, but we're not. I don't want to get anybody's hopes up.
I guess the biggest thing that he said was like if we don't make a big deal, we're not just gonna throw out stupid money to random guys.
Oh, so they're not going to be the Phillies.
Right.
1 second here.
The Phillies or the Yankees are gonna give.
Oh, there it is. I see it.
1 second.
We got J Hap. Let's
Shut
be
up.
happy.
No, all of you stop with that. I seriously, although
They'll be aggressive enough to make major news, but that's no guarantee they can win out. And okay, I see it.
although I literally almost shit and pissed myself on the train
Oh, the
because I couldn't get Twitter to refresh, and then you messaged me that the Sox signed Nelson Cruz and traded Jose Abreu, and I was fucking.
And you were in a dead zone. You're like blacked out.
I couldn't fucking refresh, and I was so. Oh my god, dude, you scared the.
Where was I? I think I was walking around Lincoln Park Zoo when Darvish, when he had his second rehab start at South Bend, and I saw one tweet. It was like Darvish taken out after the first inning, and it wasn't loading. I'm like, guy, I have no clue what's happening.
So that's when you told your girlfriend, babe, yo, I gotta go to the cafeteria. We have free Wi-Fi there. You stay by the Tiger Den. I'll be back.
You to go to a Starbucks.
I didn't see. Well, before we start, did you see this New York Times piece on the Players Union failed?
The New York Times.
It's it's the nation's paper of record. As a journo, I would know and I would care. Mm-hmm. You, on the other hand, my friend, who has worked for it. Anyway, no. Union failed to investigate when MLB sent them an allegation of baseball agents covering up Melky Cabrera's drug use.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
I didn't read that. I didn't read it yet.
I only read Twitter, but I saw that on Twitter.
So you don't read the articles. If you read the headlines, it's the same thing, right?
Same thing as New York Times.
See, I just hope that people recap it, they quote tweet it with, "Oh wow, this happened."
Yeah,
they just snip it out, right?
Yeah,
I mean that's what I do.
They just reply. I speak fluent GIF, so when people reply in GIFs, I usually can figure out what the hell's going on.
You know what? We should just add this. Let's get the show started so that way we can have a GIF war again because we've had a few of those.
Yes, we have
a few staring contests where I've won.
Yeah, because I get so fucking tired of it. I'm just like, you win, Nuke. You beat me down. You win.
Just keep doing the Jack.
All right.
I keep sending him the Justin Timberlake stare.
Yes. Constantly.
And?
All right. Hi, everybody who's tuned in live since we've all retweeted this.
All four people.
Yeah, we're actually going to do a show now. Hi, Mom. All right. Ready? In 3, 2, 1. What's going on, everybody? It is Friday, December 7th, and you have found the Pinwheels and Ivy Podcast. We are back after our little Thanksgiving vacation, if you will, and we are ready to talk hot stove. Yeah, that's pretty much the show today. It's jam-packed, but we got a lot of good stuff coming with it. I'm your host, Matt Zwoski. They call me Zoe, and with me, as always, Mr. Aldo Soto.
Oh, there's a new name being linked to the White Sox.
I just saw it.
Tease that,
Darwin.
You know what? It is not exciting.
Merlin.
Way to bury the lead, Dick. And then also with this, is that a new beard? I think that's a new beard. Matt Anuko, what's going on, Matt?
Let me just describe how I've taken care of my beard today.
No, we don't. And then we actually have a very special guest with us with the winter meetings coming up. We actually have boots on the ground this year because our very own Sports Mockery Las Vegas, which you should all be following anyways, we have the leader of the pack out there, Mr. Kevin Fiddler. What's up, Kevin?
What's up, bud? I'm actually just here to remind you that Bryce Harper is not going to sign with the White Sox.
So we're going to mute Kevin, and then we have a great show. God damn it, Kevin. We have a great show for you. As always, this show is...
Wait. Or are they?
Oh. ...
See, that's a pro right there. And so we are going to... this show is always brought to you by Sports Mockery, sportsmockery.com. Make sure you are downloading the app, enabling those push notifications so you can be the first to know any latest and breaking news. And you can also follow all of our good stuff in Las Vegas. Kevin's doing a great job out there. So with all that being said, stove is warming up, fellas. Let's tap this keg. All right. So, I mean, there's no lead, there's no topics, there's no anything for this show. It's hot stove time. It's December in Major League Baseball. Winter meetings are about to go down in sunny Las Vegas. You're a dick, Kevin. It's 20 degrees here and freezing.
I wish it was sunny here. I wish it was actually sunny here. It rained today.
Oh, cry about it.
Rains in the desert. Is that a sign that Harper will sign with the White Sox?
Yes.
Well, I don't know.
Well, Zoe, we have to get your feelings here. How confident are you in the Sox getting Bryce Harper?
All right. So
where's the needle today?
The needle, we'll throw it at 62%.
Wow.
We're at
Needles don't give percentages. They give temperature readings.
Well, people that don't watch the live video, I can't just do a thing. So we're at 62%. It's a less than obtuse angle. What's up, book people? And
62. It's like a pyramid. It's like a pyramid.
So how do you guys feel about the Sox using Jim Thome to recruit Bryce?
All right, so let's start there. Okay, let's start there. So the first thing that everybody on Twitter starts going crazy about is how come they didn't send Frank Thomas? Makes a little bit more sense. Frank, big guy, big name, recently Hall of Famer, everything like that. Frank Thomas is not employed by the Chicago White Sox. Okay.
Jim Thome's a Hall of Famer.
I know he is, but Frank Thomas, big hurt, a little more swag than Mr. Incredible. So,
I mean, Frank Thomas is the best player in franchise history.
Right. So, but Frank is not employed by the team. Thome is. Frank has media contracts. Thome doesn't. So we don't even know if Frank could go. So I just think he couldn't go. And Thome is a awesome second place. I mean, I don't know. Kevin, what do you think about Jim Thome going?
Well, I think it's kind of interesting because I know Frank Thomas spends a ton of time here in Las Vegas.
Didn't know that.
He's a sometimes seen at the gyms. It's been mentioned in the past where he kind of hangs out a little bit here. I don't know if he has a house here, but he's here a ton. So that's interesting to think that they would send Thome if Thomas is kind of familiar with the area and the layout here. They would send someone like Thome. I don't know if that's maybe because what he said, the contracts, he might not be able to kind of mess around in that kind of circumstance. But Thome's also a younger name. It's a lefty, someone very similar to Bryce as far as a violent swinger too. So maybe there was an appeal there for the two left-handed bats to maybe talk shop to, as opposed to Frank Thomas, which was a completely different type of ball player.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we know the real reason they sent Thome is to talk shit about Philadelphia.
Thank you. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Player haters ball.
Yes. He went in there and he's like, "Oh, weird! I'm not wearing that Phillies hat in that Hall of Fame. Let's discuss." I don't know.
He's not wearing a White Sox hat in the Hall of Fame either.
Yeah, but who's he work for now? Anyways.
Wait. I just thought about why did they send out Paul Konerko?
Dude, Konerko's in year 2 of a bender, dude.
Yeah, that's true.
Nothing to do with this shit.
Why haven't they sent AJ? Do you think I have a good question?
Because Bryce would get in a fight with AJ. That's why they haven't sent AJ.
Kevin, do you think AJ and Bryce would get along? AJ Pierzynski? No.
They're too similar. No.
Well, actually, and I want to bring this up here. Kevin actually has a connection with some of these guys. Kevin, you coached a very well-known Chicago baseball player when he was a young high school lad, and Chris Bryant. But you didn't coach Bryce, but you knew him, right?
Right, coached against.
Coached against. Fair enough. All right.
Yeah.
So not only are you our man in Vegas, but now you're our resident Chris Bryant, Bryce Harper expert. So congratulations on the promotion. Not a big deal.
Excellent.
Literally anything you say will take as gospel.
Okay.
Except for that he's not going to the White Sox.
Hashtag facts.
Not buying that. But I don't know, as someone that's seen Bryce throughout the years and stuff like that, what do you think? I mean, I know you're not like, texting him and every day, but like, what do you think he's looking for in his next destination? Like, what have you heard?
I mean, so I talked to, I'm kind of an annoyer. I kind of just ask anybody that's kind of around in the baseball community when you're out around. There's so many people that have interacted in the same circles. And I have not heard a single person that I would consider credible not say Philly. Like that's what kind of stood out to me was I'm like, okay, I'm hoping someone's going to say Cubs, honestly. I'm like, Cubs? No, Philly. Dodgers? Nope, Philly. It just keeps going Philly. It's almost on repeat. And these are people that have been around Bryce. Obviously Bryce will decide when Bryce decides, but these people have known Bryce at least, and they kind of would know what he might maybe tend to trend to. But it just keeps coming up Philly to me. White Sox. That's one word I've not heard.
Good.
Cubs jokes is I've heard them using the Cubs as kind of like a way to troll people with the dog named Wrigley or things like that. And
yes, keep going.
Wouldn't that be so sweet?
Town thing, they play up that Chris and Bryce relationship, but in the real world, they were more or less contemporaries, not really buddies when they played against each other in high school. And honestly, Chris was overshadowed by Bryce as a senior. Chris had one of the best senior years in high school, but everyone was talking about what was going on at CSN with Bryce. So he's had to deal with that forever. So those kind of things, they play out. They say, oh, they're best pals because they took a picture together as being their best pals. They're friends, but I don't think that Chris is going to have anything to weigh in on like the decision. So I don't think that plays into that at all. I think that's just a good way for Boris to kind of push up the market.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
And I mean, when you got a team like Philly that is literally making claims about spending stupid kinds of money, but like an absolute bottomed out payroll already with a crazy media deal, it seems like, and I live in the Philadelphia area, from all the media stuff that I've read around, it's like literally like it doesn't matter what anybody offers, we'll do better.
And they have a couple guys on the cusp of actually handing out too, some guys that are prospects and just the whole game too.
Right. I mean, that trade that Philly made this week with Carlos Santana, that was to shed more room.
Yep.
I mean, they dropped $35 million, I think, on his deal.
So Kevin,
or $15 million.
So from what you're hearing, is it more just because it's going to be the most money, or like does he just like Philadelphia? What is it? Just he's going to get the most money from the Phillies?
I think it probably has to do with a little bit of both. I think it's a familiarity with the division too.
Mm-hmm.
That always can play into it, but it just seems like that it could be just where he feels like, honestly, me personally, I thought he was going to go like LeBron James. I thought he was going to go to somewhere where he can piggyback a title, get his first title, get it out of the way, just like LeBron did with D-Wade down in Florida. And, and that's why I thought Dodgers Cubs were like choices, but then Philly just kept coming up. And I have no idea behind the rationale. And if he chooses Philly, I'm sure he'll have a good reason to explain it, but it seems kind of strange because it's really, you're going to a cold weather place. I mean, they were decent. They were like 80. I mean, they won 80 games, a little less than 80 games.
Yeah, I mean, they imploded the last 2 months of the season, but I mean, that's nothing new because the Nationals were supposed to run away with the division in 2018. So, but I agree with you. It's always, I don't know if it's me living in the Philadelphia area rationalizing it to myself, but it makes sense to stay in the division. It's a place he knows. It's not it's not like throwing turmoil into his life. Like we're going to go play in the NL Central and then have to deal with Chicago, Missouri, Milwaukee. You've got,
Wait, can we go back to Missouri?
It's the same.
Can we go back to Missouri?
Cardinals? Why?
That's St. Louis.
Oh, St. Louis.
Keep reading the paper, Chief. Let's go.
Geography, no good. But Philly and Washington are only 2 hours away from each other. So, I don't know if he's got a comfy life in Northern Virginia. He could kind of keep it there. And Mike Trout is a free agent in 2 years, and he is South Jersey to the core. Quote me now. He will be a Philly, and I guarantee they're playing that up.
I don't know, Nuke. The last guarantee,
Mike Trout.
The last guarantee
he's not going to be an angel.
The last guaranteed you make was Avisail Garcia being tendered. So,
come on, that's a little bit different.
Let's slow your roll with your guarantees here, Nuke.
Expected, not guarantee.
You guys think that
I called the Davidson non-tender, didn't I? No one else was saying Davidson non-tender. Oh, thank you.
1 for 2. All right.
500.
What's up, Kevin?
Do you guys think that Goldschmidt move is going to change the market too? Maybe force the Cubs to open up the pocketbooks that they weren't going to open previously, but now that they've got a potential Cub killer adding to so losses out of the postseason?
That's actually a great segue. So continue with the hot stove. As Kevin alluded to, notorious Cub killer Paul Goldschmidt, arguably he's easy top 5 first baseman in all of baseball, has been traded to the Missouri Cardinals for Carson Kelly, Luke Weaver, a minor league second baseman named Andy Young, and a competitive balance round B draft pick. So this is big because, like Kevin said, Goldschmidt, notorious Cubs killer, but I'm not the biggest fan of this guy, but I do really agree with what he said here. Danny Parkins from the 670 The Score here in Chicago midday radio station, he noted that all these people are saying, oh, wow, now this means the Cubs have to do something. The Cubs need to react to this. And he countered with, no, the Cubs have been the team to beat in the NL Central for the last 4 years. They won a World Series. They've eliminated the Cardinals from the playoffs. They've kept the Cardinals out of the playoffs. This is the Cardinals reacting to the Cubs. So the Cubs don't have to react to them. This is them reacting to the Cubs. And I looked at that and I said, you know what? Shit. You got to give credit when credit's due. Danny's absolutely right.
Right. And the moves, any moves that the Cubs would make, even if the Cardinals didn't get Goldschmidt, they still have to improve the bullpen, because the other big news on Thursday was that Brandon Morrow's not going to be ready in April because he had surgery in his elbow. They still need someone to play like some second base because Ben Zobrist is going to be 38 years old, his final year of his contract. There's the whole Russell situation, so he's no matter what, he's not going to play in April too. And I obviously still think he's not going to be on the team. But you need another infielder because you can't just rely on the old man Zobrist. They need another outfielder because you can't have Jason Hayward and his 300 slugging starting more than 100 games. We saw what the younger guys did. Schwarber was he had his power numbers, but he struggled. You had Elmora, Happ. They had their struggles. They needed to do something. And no matter what the Cardinals do, what the Brewers do. I mean, you even see the Reds are in a whole bunch of rumors that they're trying to get another starting pitcher.
Yeah, it's weird.
They're trying to trade for pitchers. They're trying to sign an outfielder. They're making some move in the loaded division. I don't know why, but I kind of agree with Parkins there. These teams are responding to the Cubs. Yeah, I know the Brewers won the division in 2018, but the Cubs sucked and won 95 games.
Right. And so with that laundry list you just put out there, Aldo, because it's
a lot for a team to win 95 games.
Right. And I don't think anybody can argue with it. But also we had Theo a couple months ago being like, yeah, we're going to do what we got to do, blah, blah, blah. And then as we're coming into these winter meetings, we got a quote from Theo today when we record this on Thursday of him kind of walking it back a little bit, saying, we got to get creative with this budget. Like any good business organization, we have a budget and we're going to adhere to it. It's up to me and my team to get creative within this budget to make the best moves possible. That doesn't sound like a guy that's going to go out and give a guy $150 million. You know what I mean? Like
that doesn't sound like a guy who's going to give someone like $50 million.
Right. That sounds like
I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't sign almost anybody except for those fringe bullpen pieces that are light on the budget. I think anything Theo does. I think anything Theo does. I think it's a trade to shed salary because
what's going to happen?
What?
He's going to sign someone, but it's going to cost. Like, fans are going to get pissed no matter what because the Cubs are going to have to get rid of someone's contract. And the only way that they're going to be able to do it is they're going to have to attach one of the young guys to one of these massive deals. And obviously the big one is Jason Hayward. It's like 5 years, $120 million left. So, like, you're going to have to attach a Kyle Schwarber or a Wilson Contreras maybe. There was that rumor that was floated around a couple weeks ago that the Cubs could maybe move on from him. But, like the Cubs have to do something. Like, I know that they're saying the whole budget thing and the key word now is being creative. That's been thrown around like the last week and a half. And basically all that means is we have to trade one of our young good guys who's basically just Schwarber, Happ, or Contreras with one of these big contracts so that we can alleviate that payroll to spend somewhere else. Because as I said, they have a whole bunch of holes that they have to fill.
Holes.
But they have a few, and I think you guys were right in saying that, like, the Cubs really don't have to respond to the Cardinals because they are still the front runners, even though Milwaukee won the division last year. The Cubs are still, like, on paper, you look at them and I'm like, that's a dynamite lineup, a stellar starting staff, some trouble in the bullpen, but you can find your way around it. Like, I don't see any real big problems. I do agree with you, Aldo, on second base. What are they going to do? Just keep platooning? What do they do with Addison Russell? They traded for Ronald Torreyes, and then they send him. They sent him somewhere. I don't know if he got claimed off waivers or something. But can you fill? Are they confident they can fill that from within? Do they make a trade? I think they are super active in searching for a trade. If they feel they need to make a deal, I think they're like Theo's giving the horn all day.
Hold on, isn't this why Theo walks on water and shit? Like, isn't this like what he does? He goes out and finds dudes that sell tamales on the side in Puerto Rico, and they come in and throw 102-mile-an-hour cutters and shit. Like, that's what he does.
Well, guys, I mean, I know that Kevin. I know you guys are saying that Bryce is going to Philly, but I still have that 1% chance that Theo's just going to do something ridiculous, and at the last minute that they're going to get.
I'm good with that.
Yeah. Okay. So it's cool to do that, but when I say White Sox, well, I get laughed at. Trust, it's fine. I have a list.
Well, there's multiple reasons to laugh at the White Sox, but that's one of them.
It's all right. It's a personal list, and when Bryce Harper signs with the White Sox, everyone's going to get an individual tweet just of me going, "Suck it."
I don't think there's anything to laugh about. It's simple what the White Sox have to do. The White Sox just have to outbid everyone else,
and they can.
Exactly. So I don't think the thing is, are they going to?
No.
If they offer the same deal that these other teams are going to,
they're going to lose.
Sorry, exactly. They're not going to get Bryce Harper for 10 years, $330 million or whatever.
So Kevin, I have a question, and you can speculate. You probably may not know this, but knowing what you know about Harper, having coached against him, seen him on the field, do you think he's the kind of player that would be open to listen, I'll do whatever the team needs me to do? Because they got Eloy Jimenez for the White Sox is going to be the right player. Maybe Eloy goes over to left field to make room for Bryce Harper if they can make the move. But right now it's Eloy and Rick. Is Harper the kind of guy that's listen, I'll play wherever?
It's a shame. I don't have the ability to protect his career, but man, behind the dish, he was frightening.
Really?
His pop time. It was otherworldly. So, I mean, obviously he couldn't go back to catcher, but I think that he's someone that would I think if he was kept, I think he's someone that needs to be kept interested. But I think that would he might actually thrive in an environment where they're shifting around a couple spots. He might not be someone that, again, he's a very active kind of person in the first place. So maybe, hey, Bryce, we're gonna throw you at first for the day. He'd probably eat it up for a little bit, and if he takes it, but I don't see him as someone that would be against it. I think that he'd be somewhere. I mean, if he's playing in a lineup where he feels like he's like a system of bros, because he is a bro. He'll be happy regardless. So right.
But if he's like Machado, like where he gets to choose, he's a free agent. I can choose to go play right field in Philly, or I can go to the White Sox, where they're probably a year or two behind the Phillies in their rebuild, and I can play left, center, first. I don't know. Just playing it out in my mind, it sounds like, again, that might be something against signing with the White Sox. And I think why the White Sox might not I'm just not sold that they're pursuing Harper as hard as we all might think he is.
And met with him. I mean, but sort of the Giants. I mean, nobody's even talking about the San Francisco Giants, and the Giants met with him.
Yeah. Although they got issues with like free agency coming up with Bumgarner.
I just had to look it up because you know what, Nuke? Take that theory you just put out there and just twist it sideways and shove it straight up your Yahoo. Because Eloy plays left field in triple. He's been playing left field his whole minor career.
Yeah, well, I mean, outfield is outfield. You can play anywhere in the outfield. I mean, corner outfielder.
Yeah, that's a non-factor. If Bryce comes to the White Sox and he goes, "I'm playing right field," Eloy beat it. Go to left field. That's not hard.
He's going to be playing. Can you imagine what the outfield's going to feel like when you got Adam Engel in center field? And it's Harper and Eloy on either side of him.
Yeah.
Build a statue.
That's whatever.
Adam Jones in
Gold
center.
Glover bats 190.
Yeah. So if I get quiet like that, it's usually because I'm looking at something up to make a point. But yeah, Eloy's been playing. I was like, pretty sure he's been playing left field the whole time in the minors. So that's not a big deal.
You see him, but just hitting everywhere in the winter. I don't know where they're playing winter ball.
Yeah,
but
they brought up
Twitter got all
Big Sexy, and it was like, "What up, Big Sexy? Meet Eloy."
Dude hits a single. Dude hits a single, and it's like internet gold.
Yeah, because he fucking does it a lot.
Can't get enough. I mean, the grand slam in his first game is more impressive.
Yes. The other,
he is a man, though. He physically turned into a man.
It's called puberty. So the other trade
at 21.
The other big, some people are late bloomers. The other big trade so far is we have the Mets and the Seattle Mariners. Jay Bruce, Anthony Swarzak, Gerson Bautista, Justin Dunn, and Jared Kalenic got traded to Seattle for Robinson, Royds Cano, Edwin Diaz, and my favorite player, Cash. So
cash considerations.
Yes.
Lots of cash.
20 million.
Obviously, Diaz is the prize here, and that's how they got the Mets to take on Cano's contract. I don't know, but I do know that Kevin has ran into someone, and we don't need to say who it was, but someone who knows what was going down in that Seattle locker room, and he had some choice words about Robinson Cano.
It didn't come back too positive. It sounded like that Diaz was the must in that deal. That the Cano part was more of a drop, really. They had some concerns with him in the postseason, and his ability to perform in the postseason if they were to get there. And a lot of it probably has to do with locker room leadership. And there was a real positive tone when discussing him, which sounded pretty interesting. Is that, I mean, I took it. I just took tone of voice or whatever, just kind of how it seemed. But yeah, they didn't seem like it wasn't seem like there was much of a tear shed.
Yeah, so they didn't have a ticker tape goodbye parade for Cano out of Seattle.
Well, Cano's not necessarily known as a Johnny Hustle either. Him and Machado can hang out.
Well,
all right.
Yeah. Well, all right.
I don't know. Whatever. Take that for what you want.
Well,
White Sox should sign both of them.
Yep.
They should start making a trade.
Oh Jesus!
Whatever.
No,
that just really took that just took a turn.
Yeah, that took a. But
I tried to spin it, didn't happen.
I don't know. It's just always weird to me what the Mets do. Just in general, they have such terrible ownership, and when the GM is just saying like, "I'm trying," but he told me I could only spend X amount of dollars and I'm doing the best I can with that money. That's just terrible. Like, I don't know how you try to be a successful organization in 2018 by telling your GM, like, here's your allowance. Figure it out.
Cubs.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's Brody Van Wagenen's first job, too. That's his first GM job. He's coming from the other side, which I don't know. I have a lot of questions about that move. But
right. And so, I don't know. But let's go down and rapid fire here. Some of the big names here in the hot stove heading into these winter meetings. And, we already talked about Bryce and how there's a chance he might come to the White Sox. The other name, though, that it's a big name, I just don't really hear too much. I feel like people just kind of –
there's nothing.
No one's talking about him. And it's really weird that no one's talking about him, and that's Manny Machado. Like
literally nothing.
Where is the hype around this guy? And, I mean, I know – we all know what kind of caliber player he can be. And we all saw what kind of whatever he put out in the World Series. And, the comments hurt a little bit, but at the end of the day, he's still an elite player in Major League Baseball. And there is crickets on social media about this guy. I almost feel like everyone just kind of has accepted the fact he's going to the Yankees. And that's why no one's even talking about it. Like, it's a waste of a tweet.
But even the Yankees are like, we don't really know.
I don't know. It's just weird to me. Have you guys heard anything, or am I tone deaf to this, or what's going on?
I think teams. I mean, Harper, at least in Chicago. I mean, it's well known the relationship. Like you said, Kevin, about playing it up in Chicago with Chris Bryant and his dog. Harper's dog's named Wrigley and all that stuff. And then like some leaked photos a few weeks ago with the White Sox pitch and what we saw at the United Center. So I think there were like some buzz around Harper. Maybe Harper is just more visible. Maybe Machado's a little bit more, he's still like on vacation or something. But I think personally, all teams right now are doing these preliminary pitches, but it's more like they gotta be active on the trade market first, because this is a historic free agent market. There's so many. I mean, like, nobody's talking about AJ Pollock. We haven't talked about Dallas Keuchel. Dallas Keuchel's name came up today for the first time. I mean, like, there's so much out there that I'm a little surprised that Machado's name hasn't at least leaked out in some capacity. But then again, I'm not, because you know what? These two guys, the days are gone where the top two guys set the market and then everybody falls in underneath. It doesn't work that way anymore. It's like they're going to wait. They're going to wait as long as they can. And I'm sure Machado was slow rolling it. And Machado had a better year than Harper, at least on paper. Mm-hmm. So you'd think that more people would be around Machado. I don't think that his statements or his comments during the World Series have anything to do with this personally. I think teams know what they get with him. His whole body of work speaks a lot louder than those, few statements he made. Everybody in professional baseball knows that you dog it here and there, and you don't go 120% every play, balls to the walls all the time. You can't play 162 games that way. You'll fall apart. So, I'm not surprised, but I'd like to hear more. But Machado to the White Sox makes the most sense to me on more than Harper.
I think the dirty stuff got him in a little bit of trouble too. I think the ankle,
that clip at first base, yeah,
that kind of stuff.
I agree with you.
That's going to loom a little bit, and I think a lot of teams, it could be too. He might be sitting back going, "All right, Bryce, set the market."
Yeah, set the market, right?
You stay back here. I'm gonna hang at the back. You guys can figure it out. But I think a lot of teams too aren't like jumping at the chance to get him either, because I think the dirty stuff. Dodger. I don't think I know a Dodger fan that is sad to see him go. They like
right
get out.
And I think that's also team's excuse. It's like what Hahn did at the end of the season when he didn't call up Eloy, when everybody's like, he deserves it. But it's like, well, we played it right where he hasn't checked all the boxes at AAA and he's only played half a season there and we can push this. Well, okay. But what Machado did in the postseason gives every team the excuse to say, we're going to take it slow. Maybe knock a few million off. Who
Now,
knows? You know?
hold on. Going back to why you think Machado is such a great fit for the White Sox, doesn't he isn't he demanding he play shortstop?
Well, he's kind of hell bent on it, but do you think he would be better than Tim Anderson?
Well, yeah, but they also Tim Anderson's wrapped up for the next 6 years.
Yeah, but they also have a hole. They have a glaring
Anderson to
hole.
center.
You move him to center.
You just move Anderson to center, and then you're fine.
Or if I mean, listen, that's kind of why I asked the question about Harper, is because some of these guys, and especially when you're a free agent, you get to choose for the first time in your career. You get to choose where I'm going to play, whether you fit at that position, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a glaring hole in the infield. I mean, there's holes in. You can argue there's a lot of holes in the defensive scheme for the White Sox and center field and all that, but certainly the infield is not set. And when you have the opportunity to get a guy like Machado, who's a plus defensive middle infielder at shortstop, then you say, all right, are we going to stick with Machado at second? Or do we move him to third? He profiles physically more as a third baseman, in my opinion.
Yo-yo. Okay.
Yeah. Or not. Yes. Moncada, Machado. Now I'm getting.
Yeah. See, first of all,
Moncada.
Kind of hoping it doesn't happen, just because you both know me, and this podcast will go quickly off the rails if that happens.
It already has.
Well, that's why we'll just stick with Yo-Yo and Manny, because those two names sound way too alike. But not to cut you off, but it does what you're saying. Rick Hahn actually had a quote today that kind of backs up what you're saying. So Rick Hahn, on the belief that the White Sox shouldn't pursue free agents right now because it's a year too early. Hahn said, quote, "You can't control when players will be available in the future, and we need to act accordingly." So to me, that sounds like a GM that realizes, like, a free agent class like this doesn't come around very often. This is a historical, this is like the LeBron James year with the decision. Like, it's a historical free agent class. And if you can get a guy, you get a guy, and then you figure it out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not, I don't know. What about Tim Anderson? It's, no, Manny Machado wants to play here. We're going to go get him, and then we'll figure this shit out.
Right. And especially with Jake Berger going down. I mean, like, the infield.
Jake Berger.
The infield is more, it's a more skilled position. You can't just jump around the infield all that easily, not like the outfield. You can just go out in the outfield and be athletic. The infield, you got to have certain set of skills. You got to have intuition. You got to be able to read plays a little bit differently. So there's a whole different understanding. So when you can get a guy that, like Machado, like you said, slide him in at short, see how it works. And of course, Tim Anderson can move around. I mean, if you put Tim Anderson to third, that's a hell of a left side of the infield. If you want to move Moncada over and you flip-flop Anderson over to second, you can do that as well. If Nick Madrigal plays out the way he's supposed to, then you've got all kinds of things going on.
Look who's talking about Nick Madrigal now.
I'm not building a statue for him yet. He's still 5'9".
But real quick,
has to get it first. So.
Yeah, real quick, Kevin, just based off of Nuke's analysis of outfield versus infield, what position do you think Nuke played?
It didn't even really give any clues.
You keep a chart?
Do I keep a chart? Sometimes.
Don't know. I
got a little preoccupied real quick because the Golden Knights just took a 2-0 lead over the Hawks.
That's like beating up a handicap kid. Congratulations. But anyways.
Got to win the games on your schedule.
Yep. I was just laughing, though, because, Nuke, the way you were saying that, like, in the infield, you have to play balls differently, and you have to think, and you have to be able – and then there's outfield where you can basically show up drunk. So
that's pretty much what happens. If you can't play the infield, they throw you in the outfield. Look at Kyle Schwarber.
Hey, we're talking about
the
best left fielder in the game.
Best defensive left fielder in baseball.
Asterisk. But
wait. I have to ask. So obviously there's the hype. The White Sox are going after Harper, and if they don't get him, they have to make a run for Machado then. Mm-hmm. But it's like, what if they swing and miss, and they end up with Marwin Gonzalez, who's the latest guy being linked to the White Sox?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't even know.
I wouldn't be surprised.
You don't know World Series champion Marwin Gonzalez?
He was World Series hero.
Yeah. So Marwin Gonzalez is like basically a Ben Zobrist. He plays everywhere. He had a career year 2 years ago with the Astros. I mean, he's like, I don't know, like a 750, 780 OPS player.
I think
he's
like
fine. A lot of Cubs fans want him because he's so versatile.
Yeah, but the Cubs have like superstars all over the field, and it doesn't matter.
Exactly. Like the Cubs want him because he fits where you can just plug him anywhere. Right. If he signs with the White Sox, it's like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. It's like unremarkable. It's like,
is he like? Is he fast? Does he hit for average? Like,
no, he's just a player.
He's like he's a good. Solid. He's a professional hitter. He's a professional hitter.
Yeah.
We have 20 just players like throughout the system.
He would be a better Yolmer Sanchez without the personality.
We just locked up Yolmer.
Here, so in 2017, he hit 303, 377 on base, 530 slugging. That was his career year. Other than that, he's like in the 700s for his OPS.
Sure. I don't know.
I'd rather sign Nick Markakis.
No shit. Oh my God. Here goes packing Nick Markakis again. Holy shit. All right. So some of the other names out there that are big buzz.
Dallas Keuchel.
Well, Dallas Keuchel is another name that we're just now are starting to hear that Cincinnati, out of anyone, is making a push for him.
No.
I don't see the appeal to a guy like Dallas Keuchel. Like, why not just re-sign in Houston?
No, I mean, they're going to have to super overpay him to go to that black hole.
That ballpark? Are you kidding
me?
Oh.
I mean, I have a feeling like he walked out of the meeting with the Reds and behind a bush, someone was just like, psst, psst, don't do it. And it was Joey Votto.
Yeah, probably. Or he just looked at his agent and was like, why did we come here?
Yeah, Joey Votto was like, no, dude, don't do this shit. I've been suffocating here for years.
Are the White Sox going to sign any pitchers? Or?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, Patrick Corbin.
I think they missed out on Corbin.
Yeah, Corbin.
I think there was a big opportunity to balance their rotation and give some. I mean, I think Corbin got overpaid. I can't believe the money he got for 1 year that he was like legit good.
Yeah, I was looking at the stats and like going over stuff. I just didn't see why everyone like had
like
such a
Darvish had years.
For,
yeah, Darvish had years of being legit.
But and then, that's Major League Baseball now. I mean, look at the money that Evaldi just got.
Yeah, but
Evaldi had like one great postseason.
Right.
But he's also flexible because he can be a starter or a premier back end bullpen guy. Because he was a starter, wasn't he? A starter with Tampa Bay? Is that right?
Yeah, and I like to think he got maybe a little something for the World Series effort.
Definitely, I'm sure. Yeah,
that worked out good for the Blackhawks. Fuck, don't pay guys because they play good in the postseason.
Wait, I just have an update. Derrick Henry has 4 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, and one of them was 99. Yeah, one of them was 99 yards, and he killed 2 guys.
He has 219 rushing yards. I don't think he's had that like in the entire season.
No, he hasn't. His previous high this season was 58 yards. But
Jesus Christ, the Jaguars blow.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that.
All right.
Is there football on the night?
19 yards.
Yeah, I might be losing money on that, so we don't need to talk about that. Some of the other names that are out there, we saw Josh Donaldson signed a 1-year deal with Hotlanta. Nelson Cruz has been banished from the Red Sox. I got to tell a story.
I wouldn't hate it.
Let me tell the story real quick. So
we have to bring up the rumor. Yeah.
Well, I take the Metro train to downtown Chicago every day for work. There's certain parts on my train ride where I can get messages, but I can't refresh Twitter or any social media. So I was in one of those areas, and although just happened to message me at that time, NC23 coming to the south side, also Jose Abreu traded. I almost shit and pissed myself simultaneously on this train and then killed someone because I was so angry. And I think he finally realized how angry I was, and he's like, dude, I'm just kidding. Because I was so mad, because tell me that's not a White Sox move. Hey guys,
I mean,
our big free agent signing was 62-year-old Nelson Cruz. Oh my God!
well, the only reason I brought it up was because there's the report that the Dodgers are maybe interested in trading for Jose Abreu. So
yes, so that is the rumor out there. That's cool. Rumors are fun. Can't have them. Move on. But
Kind of like the White Sox signing Bryce Harper.
oh,
Whisper in the night.
yeah. But yes, that is a rumor that was floated out on Twitter, though, that the Dodgers are interested in Jose Abreu. I mean, why wouldn't they be? He checks a lot of boxes off for them. And you know what? Good for Jose for being wanted. You know what I mean? That shows a lot about him as the player.
But like, I'll ask you guys this question: are the Dodgers like what's going on with the Dodgers?
I don't know.
Like they make that deal last year for Machado, and they give up a pretty penny for him, a decent amount, and now they're going for another. And they pretty much said, "We don't care. We don't want Machado after anyway. We only want him for our run now." But like then they're like rumored to be interested in Abreu, another rental. And it's like, aren't they competing? Aren't they supposed to be like super competing? And they just lost their GM. I think their GM went up to San Francisco.
Well,
Farzidi.
I feel like
his name is.
So we talked about the Mets earlier and being on the, trying to ball on a budget here. The Dodgers are the extreme opposite, where they just feel like they throw fistful of monies at this thing and it's eventually just going to work out. And last year was the closest they've gotten, but it's not clicking yet. And I mean, go ahead and keep on, overpaying.
Well, no, the Dodgers. I mean, yeah, they traded for Machado because obviously they had that huge payroll and they have to go for it.
They lost Seager,
because they lost Seager, but like they have Andrew Friedman who was with the Rays, and it's not like it's not with him anyways. Because I don't think he was around when they were like trading for Carl Crawford, or were they? Was he?
I don't know.
I think he's more conservative. Of like, we're not going to hand out these massive deals because I mean, right now they should be in on like, and I guess they are. They're like obviously going to meet with Harper or check in with him, whatever. But like, they should definitely be like, hey,
they should be making a run.
Yeah, like they should be like a front runner for Bryce Harper, but that's not really the story right now.
I'm guessing DJ LeMahieu actually.
You think DJ LeMahieu?
Yeah. I feel like that's going to be a move that they'd make that kind of sticks within kind of what they're looking for. Because you're going to get Seager back. I mean,
yeah,
that's a pretty good replace.
LeMahieu's a second baseman, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And their current second baseman, well, Utley retired, but their current second baseman is Kike Hernandez, who's like your super utility guy, right? Yeah.
Kike
so I mean,
LeMahieu postseason.
Yeah.
Kike did not show up for the postseason.
But most of their money, and you know what? Most of their money's tied up in pitching, in their pitching staff. On Kershaw, Rich Hill. And seriously, they should have won at least one World Series if Kershaw doesn't blow in the postseason.
Right.
So,
or you Darvish. In 2017.
So I don't know. I mean, like they've got a lot of young talent with Bellinger, Seager. Oh man, like they're not breaking the bank with position player contracts, but Puig is probably hurting them a little bit because he's not what he was supposed to be. But,
so you brought up who was it, Hernandez having a bad postseason, and we obviously haven't talked for a couple weeks. The White Sox don't have they need another catcher because they have Valentin Castillo.
Well, that's right. They need two catchers. Yeah.
So do you guys think they're players for Grandal, who is really bad in the postseason?
Yeah.
I actually think
I don't think so. Yeah.
No, see,
you think so?
I do, and I think he fits the culture of what they're doing there. And I don't know. I just think I wouldn't be surprised. It's a very White Sox-y type move.
But why would you? So like, let me just play this out. So Beef's got one more year left on his contract, right? It was a 2-year deal. Yeah, yes. It was a 2-year deal.
Yep.
So he's got 1 year left. You're going to sign Grandal. Catchers break down. They don't get long-term contracts. So what do you give him? Do you give him a 2-year deal to get that another bridge year? So when they let Beef go next year, and hopefully Sebi Savala comes up, and then you got Collins behind him.
Right. So they got the kids down there coming up. They have some catching talent in the system right now. I'd be cool with the 2-year deal.
Do you think he's going to want more than that?
How many people are offering him more?
Yeah, I don't think many. I mean, even Matt Wieder's got a 1-year deal.
Well, we're talking about catchers falling apart.
Yeah, right.
But I'm just looking right now. I mean, Grandal, 241, 349, 815, 24 homers. I mean, nothing crazy, but
I'd rather make a trade with the Cubs for Wilson Contreras.
Oh yeah, that's easy.
Or just give us Eloy.
Yeah, just give us Eloy.
No trade backs. No trade backs.
All right, fine. If you don't give us Robert.
No, definitely not.
You know who you're talking to. That's silly.
Mr. Delicious might make that trade.
Yes, Mr.
I mean,
Delicious.
if I was the White Sox, I would also make that trade, and then you just sign Bryce Harper, and who cares?
Who's the other hot catcher right now? That JT
Real Muto.
Yeah.
Seen a lot of Yankee talk with him.
Dude, everyone is in now. Like half the fucking league wants a Real Muto.
Yeah. I mean, if Han could pull that off, that'd be sick.
Wait, Kevin, let me ask you that. What do you think about those? I mean, I guess it came from a Marlins reporter, but it was basically put as a rumor with the Cubs maybe thinking about moving on from Contreras.
It doesn't make much sense as far as, I mean, he's not like a bloated contract by any means, but
right.
I mean, I think they're so I mean, again, the payroll stuff sucks kind of because again, they got so many guys that have their rookie contracts or their cheap contracts through 2021.
Yeah.
So I mean, I wouldn't understand getting rid of Wilson unless he's a distraction or a clubhouse issue, which you never know, I guess. But
right.
Maybe
it wouldn't make any sense, but I mean, he did get a little bit. He got crapped on a bit for not playing hard a couple times this year. So
that's right. There was the one time that fly ball at center that he didn't run out.
Johnny Hustle.
But that rumor didn't make any sense because first of all, he's had better career numbers than Real Muto, and he's younger. He has more years of control at like a lot cheaper price, and he had like 2.5 months of bad baseball.
If I'm the Cubs, there's no way. I mean, I'll listen, but I'm not getting rid of him.
Yeah,
like this is literally the only way you trade Wilson Contreras is if you get Real Muto, but you like trade Ian Happ and like Caratini and whatever other prospects the Marlins want. Yeah. If they even want Ian Happ as the center.
They want a king's ransom for him.
Right.
They want a lot.
Like if you trade anyone but Wilson Contreras, and then you get Real Muto, and then it's like, all right, we'll package Contreras and like Hayward to get rid of Hayward's contract to then get Harper. Fine. That is the only scenario where moving on from Wilson Contreras makes sense. Other than that, it's stupid.
It would be like Matt Kemp last year. Right. But Matt Kemp totally panned out for the Dodgers.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah, totally unexpected. Exactly. I have a question. Are the Cubs going to be a little reluctant to make a move based on the variable of Joe Madden? Because I'm not getting a whole lot of love for Joe down there or up there.
Not. Everyone has soured on Joe.
Well, but then I mean, the Theo and the push and pull between Theo and Joe, we're not offering him a contract. We'll see how this year goes. That's code for we're pretty much done.
And everyone that they're bringing in they're all young coaches.
Mm-hmm. Right. So is it kind of like, well, do we really want to go out and spend big, or do we really want to make a lot of big time moves when there's going to be a new coaching staff?
I mean, you have to. They're still in their middle of the competitive window. They have to make the moves to keep it going.
I think Joe's gone mid-year.
If Joe's gone mid-year, a lot of things really got fucked up.
I've never seen you get so flustered so fast.
I didn't want to think about that. Like,
if Joe's gone,
the middle of the year, the Cubs are like 10 games under 500, and it's just miserable. And
Yes.
And Bryce Harper is going to be hitting like 40 home runs with the White Sox. Like that. That's
what if they're 500 and in third place? Is he gone?
I mean, it depends. Like if they're, I don't know. What if they're the Brewer or whoever's ahead of them is only like 2 games above 500? I don't know. It depends.
I don't know. I don't know if he makes it the whole year because why? For why?
Oh, if he's still good, they can still. I mean, offer an
Well, I
extension.
mean, obviously, if they run away with if they run away with the division and win 120 games the way they should,
You have to remember.
yeah.
You have to remember. Chris Bryant was great. He was on his way for another like MVP type season. Then he fucked up his shoulder, and he was done for like the last 4 months. And the Cubs still won 95 games. So Cubs are
Right.
That's right.
And no Darvish, right.
Pitched 8 starts.
Yeah,
Tyler Chatwood had to fucking start 20 times.
Yeah, Russell drama. I mean, it all compounded for them. I mean,
Yeah.
heavy is the head that wears the crown.
So I put in JT.
But Joe likes to put position players into pitch.
Oh, shut up.
Does
No.
it?
We're not fucking that chicken
First
this
they put
episode.
pitchers into hit.
Yeah.
that too. That too.
Joe Maddon's gonna make Matt Davidson a star.
Ooh.
What if they claim him?
Plot twist. Like it. So I put in JT Romuto into the Google machine.
Oh,
And I just thought this was funny. The first 2 stories that came up in the last 2 hours were about him going to the Mets. And then the third story is report at least 14 teams interested in JT.
I'm telling you, dude, everyone is in. I mean, he was the best catcher in the league last year, so and they're gonna trade him. Or that's
what the Marlins do. Yelich.
Well, they're
Marlins.
tearing the whole thing down.
Yelich.
I'm so mad the Cubs didn't get Yelich. They could have got him.
I
So
think give
some-
Lewis Brinson. That was big.
He
Somebody-
sucks. Nuke, stop bringing up Lewis. He sucks.
He gives a rookie. Give him a break.
He's not gonna be good. He's gonna be like D.
It's like people that say Lucas Giolito sucks. I'm going to give him one more year.
Did you see
Well,
that
He,
workout
he was
video today?
bad.
See that workout video today? Lucas looks mean. Looks mean.
I like it.
yeah, he's gonna throw fastballs in the dirt even harder now. Like what?
So
Frisbees. I think
yeah.
they'll be running, zipping, diving, cutting.
So
and
Nuke,
they're gonna be looking at him walking to first base
Nuke, where's your boy Michael Brantley gonna go?
to the White Sox.
Oh, God, stop.
Where's
What did
your
you
boy-
see? He said that he's open to playing first base now too.
Yeah, that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, and Matt Davidson's open to pitch, too.
Yeah.
No,
Basically,
but
that
the
worked
thing
out
is,
well
like,
for him.
can't everyone just play first base?
Well, kind of. It's one of those places you just get put. Yeah, I mean,
Left field.
left field.
That's-
Well,
What
son,
about-
why don't you try left field or first?
what
You can
about
catch the ball,
AJ,
right?
You're tall.
AJ what about AJ Pollock? Any interest?
I don't know. I mean, I'll take AJ Pollock, not on a long-term deal. 5 years, maybe with options starting in the second or third.
I think he wants like around who was it? What Kane got or like what Fowler got? Like 5 for 80. I think it's what
I think
he's
that would
asking
be
for.
a last resort. That would be a last resort for the White Sox. I don't think you spend that kind of money. That would be like one of those like halfway in, halfway out deals where it's
Yeah.
like, well, he's what's left, and we should make a move, and we'll just make any move.
Just wait it out for Trout in 2020.
Well, at least give yourself a shot. I mean, think about it this way too. With the prospect capital that the White Sox have, if they really felt like they couldn't, like if they miss out on Machado, if they strike out on Harper, and they just don't see any kind of value in the other people on the market, with the prospect depth they have, they could, and they would have to feel like 2019, 2020, 2021 are like the years to do it. They're going to do it. Then they could make some kinds of crazy trades and take on some serious players. And
For sure.
I don't know. I don't know. A lot of ways you can do this.
So Kevin, with the winter meetings being in your backyard coming up, have you been to these things before? Like, what's the vibe there? Like, what's going on? Like, what have you heard?
I've not actually attended one of these before, but I believe the NFL was here for a little bit. I think back in the early 2000s. the thing they're talking about actually, because back in the day, I guess these winter meetings were such a great place. Like you can just kind of belly up at a bar and probably rub elbows with some a general manager, a couple guys hanging out talking. They have like 10 or 11 cocktails, and all of a sudden they come up with the greatest trade ever. This group now that are here, they're all Saber nerds, so they're gonna hang out. They might play blackjack, but they're gonna hang out in their room. They're gonna work on their number.
Right.
They're not gonna go out and party it out. They're not gonna do anything on their gut. They operate on logic. So it'll probably be a lot more low. It'll be probably it's like maybe like your AP club from your high school goes to a trip to Vegas. It's gonna be hey guys, you guys wanna watch reruns of Mr. Robot? All right, cool. Let's go figure out who we're gonna get in free agency. This isn't. I mean, they're not gonna go out and party. It's not.
Right.
But it's kind of interesting. So I'm obviously still gonna.
Right. Being the soldier that you are, you're going to take one for the team and you're going to go hang out at bars.
Yep.
Just in case someone comes up and you get to start a conversation. And if you can fit us in, we'd like to have you on next week so you can report back on anything that you've found out. Maybe you need to watch Mr. Robot or whatever the hell that show's called. So you could figure out, what to do. Or you can grow a sweet mustache like Nuke over there and keep playing with it over and over again. And maybe somebody will come up and, talk to you.
I don't know if that's how you get talked to. I think that's how you get on a special. You have to introduce yourself to your neighbors when you move into the
It's human repellent. It's like, don't talk to that guy twisting his mustache in the corner. Yeah, that's the reason he's in the corner.
Guy Fox over there wants to talk about free agents.
I was gonna say,
Kevin, you brought up the whole like no one's gonna party, and that just reminded me of a Chris Bryant and how he's like doesn't do anything. Was he always like that boring?
Nerd.
In high school? Like
nerd. He was my student aide as a sophomore, and he did all of his homework. He could have napped. He could have done whatever. He could have played on the. I mean, I think his idea of fun is probably sitting at home reading a Harry Potter book, or I don't know. He's not a partier. That makes him, again. That's why I tell my friends, if that kid's your role model, that's a role model. I have no problem endorsing that, because when they're making idiotic decisions as a teenager, which is pretty much everybody, he was making decisions like an adult. Like he's never not been that. It's not an act either, which is amazing. But yeah, he's not a partier. Bryce isn't a partier either, so he might fit in with the Chicago. The whole. I mean, it's not much of an issue anymore, but the day game jinx or whatever. That's another reason why Bryce would probably thrive, I think, in Chicago, because he is a guy that isn't going out late. He's going to Golden Knights games and he's going home. I mean, he's a UNLV Rebels. He's on Gucci Row. He's not a guy that's going out to the bars. That's not happening.
He's got a fridge full of butterbeer.
Right. With his wand, singing Frozen tunes.
All right. Well, on that note, I want to remind everybody to make sure that you're following us on Twitter at Pinwheels Ivy Pod. Make sure you're following the guys over at SM Vegas. They're doing great shit over there. And follow the mothership at Sports Mockery. But you can find all of our individual handles, and we'll be tweeting out Kevin's as well on the Pinwheels Ivy Pod page. Make sure you're giving us a follow. If anything breaks, like, I don't know, the White Sox sign Bryce Harper, I will be doing a live Periscope and maybe attempting a fat guy cartwheel. Who knows?
Do you want to pop bottles of champagne on my lawn? Are you going to do it for that? No?
I don't want to save those for Aloy. But,
well, I already won that bet.
I don't know, so I'll think of something else. But the first time Harper and Aloy go back to back, I might be booking a trip to Jersey. But yeah, so that's it. Kevin, thank you for coming on. Can't wait to have you on next week to hear about what you and the fellow nerds found out in the nerdery. And but yeah, make sure you're following us. Stay tuned. We'll be back next week, of course. Hot stove is burning bright right now. So for Kevin, Nuke, Aldo, I'm Zoe, and we'll talk to you guys next week. This is the Pinwheels Ivy Podcast. Take care, everybody.
No, I didn't do it. Didn't do it.